The shadow of the deep. Somewhere in the vastness of the Pacific Ocean, a sperm whale is beginning its descent at this very moment. With a single breath, it dives 3,000 meters deep, navigating a world of absolute oppressive darkness, guided only by the echo of its own voice. Biologically, it is one of the most extraordinary predators that have ever existed. Yet majestic as it is merely a shadow of what once roamed these waters. 13 million years ago, a creature swam in these oceans that makes today's sperm whale seem like an unfinished sketch. While it possessed the same basic structure, the same warm blood, and the same highly developed echolocation, it was larger, heavier, and exhibited a terrifying difference that altered the entire ecological balance. The modern sperm whale has teeth only in its lower jaw, small, functional pegs used to grasp slippery squid in the dark. This prehistoric ancestor, however, possessed massive interlocking teeth in both jaws, each reaching up to 36 centimeters in length. These teeth were not for squid, but for whales. His name is Livyatan melvillei, named after the Bible's primeval sea monster, and the author who transformed our collective fear of the deep into legendary literature. When you truly grasped what this creature was, what it hunted, and the world it ruled, you realize that even a name like Leviathan isn't dramatic enough. This is the story of the most terrifying predator the ocean ever produced, and it breathed air. The discovery in the Pisco Desert. The story of our understanding began in 2008, not in the water, but in the bone-dry, sun-scorched landscape of the Pisco Desert in southern Peru. A student was traversing this desolate area, hundreds of kilometers from the present-day coastline, when he discovered a massive skull hewn from a rock face. It was a relic from a time when this desert was the floor of a warm, shallow sea. The skull was enormous, but it was the teeth that astonished the scientific community. They were unlike anything ever seen in the fossil record, not only because of their size, but also because of their arrangement. Both the upper and lower jaws were fully functional and equipped with gigantic teeth. The discovery, published in 2010, was a worldwide phenomenon. Livyatan melvillei. The genus name refers to the Leviathan of the Old Testament, that monster which devoured ships and existed on the terrifying border between myth and reality. The species name honors Herman Melville, who wrote throughout his life about sailors' deep-seated fears of the open sea. Although the skull was incomplete, the remaining material was sufficient to show that paleontology had found a missing link that didn't fit into any existing category. It was indeed a sperm whale, but not an ancestor in the conventional sense. Rather, it was a branch of the evolutionary tree that had taken the sperm whale's blueprint and developed it in a direction that evolution eventually abandoned. A direction that, over millions of years, produced the most dangerous predator the oceans have ever seen. To understand Livyatan, one must begin with its teeth, for everything about its existence depends on them. At 36 centimeters, the largest tooth found is longer than a human forearm. These are the largest teeth ever documented in any animal, excluding tusks, surpassing those of any land predator, marine reptile, and shark. Unlike almost all other large predators known to us, these teeth were located on both jaws and interlocked so tightly that there was no escape once the jaws closed. The bite force of a jaw of this magnitude attached to a 50-ton body is almost impossible to calculate precisely. However, it is certain that no other marine animal at that time, or since, has possessed a comparable ability to seize, hold, and crush large prey. Livyatan measured between 13 and 17 meters in length, comparable to the size of a large modern-day sperm whale. But size wasn't the crucial difference. The modern sperm whale possesses the spermaceti organ, highly developed echolocation, and the largest brain of any living animal. Livyatan had all of that. They shared the same extraordinary repertoire of abilities. The difference lay in their application. The sperm whale evolved for precision and intelligence, hunting small prey at extreme depths. Livyatan, on the other hand, retained intelligence and acoustic abilities, but also developed the most devastating bite in the history of air-breathing mammals. The sperm whale evolved to locate squid in the dark. Livyatan evolved to find whales. The Miocene, a world of giants. The Miocene Ocean, 13 million years ago, was a completely different world. While the continents were roughly in their present positions, the waters were warmer, shallower, and teeming with life on a scale unparalleled today. The ocean we see today is relatively calm, with large animals scattered over vast distances. The Miocene Ocean, however, was teeming with giants. This was the era of the early baleen whales. They were smaller than today's blue whales, perhaps 7 to 10 meters long, and migrated in large, slow-moving groups through nutrient-rich waters. For a predator like Livyatan, they represented a reliable, concentrated source of biomass. They were, in the brutal language of ecology, the perfect prey. And Livyatan wasn't the only nightmare in those waters. The parting of the ocean was Megalodon, a shark that grows to 15 to 20 meters in length and possesses an estimated bite force of 18 tons. For millions of years, these two apex predators, the ultimate mammal and the ultimate shark, lived side by side. They inhabited the same territory and hunted the same prey. While there is no direct fossil evidence of a fight between the two, we do know that they lived in a world that allowed two animals of this unimaginable size to coexist. Everything else in the water, the sea turtles, the giant penguins, the early dolphins, existed in the shadow of these two giants. The mechanics of hunting. We never witnessed a Livyatan hunt, as its ancient world has long since vanished. Yet its bones tell a clear story. The Livyatan was not built for high-speed chases. Like modern sperm whales, it likely moved at a leisurely pace to conserve energy for deep dives and strenuous physical exertion. It didn't win by outrunning its prey, but by finding it first. The spermaceti organ enabled Livyatan to perceive its surroundings in 3 dimensions, even in complete darkness or murky water. It could likely locate a pod of whales from kilometers away, long before they noticed its presence. Once it had closed the distance, the attack was probably lightning fast and overwhelming. It bit down with both jaws, its interlocking teeth penetrating deep into the muscle and bone of the flank or tail. The prey could fight back or dive, but the grip of a 50-ton predator with 36-centimeter-long teeth was unbreakable. Traces of these encounters can still be found today. Fossilized baleen whale bones bearing the unmistakable marks of large, deep bite marks that correspond to Livyatan's tooth structure. The dying of light. Despite its dominance, Livyatan disappeared about 12 million years ago. Its reign lasted at least 1 million years, but eventually it left no trace in the fossil record. The cause was probably the gradual cooling of the world's oceans. As temperatures fell, ocean currents and the distribution of prey changed. The baleen whales on which Livyatan had relied were not sedentary. They followed the productivity of the cooling seas, becoming more dispersed and faster. A highly specialized apex predator, adapted to a specific type of hunting in warm, nutrient-rich waters, suddenly found that its specialization was working against it. To write Moby, Dick Melville wrote of a Leviathan that was more than just an animal. It was an ancient, unconquerable force of nature. He knew nothing of the fossils buried in the Peruvian desert, but he understood the feeling that the ocean held something worthy of the name. When the scientists decided to give the fossil a name Livyatan, they thus acknowledged that the primal fear of sailors, which had plagued them for centuries, was based on a 13-million-year-old reality. The sperm whale living today is the survivor of this legacy. It carries within it the same structure, the brain, the sonar, the social complexity, that has been refined over eons. Livyatan is a reminder of the ocean's immense power. He remains a shadowy figure in the machinery of the deep sea. And somewhere, 3,000 meters below the surface, a sperm whale clacking in the darkness carries within it the ancestral lineage of a creature that once struck fear into the entire ocean.